Can a short-term deal pave the way for a long-lasting peace for a war that has defied resolution for nearly 2 years? The Israel and Hamas war. As tension rises and humanitarian concerns deepen, Israel has signaled a readiness to embrace a fresh 60-day ceasefire initiative that could either open a pathway to peace or become yet another fleeting truce in a war marked by broken promises and mounting casualties. Well, these and many more will be detailed in today's Flash News. Good afternoon and welcome. I am Tabitha Ako. Let's begin. After nearly 20 months of relentless conflict that has left much of Gaza Strip in ruins, Israel has expressed readiness to accept a new ceasefire proposal brokered by the United States. Now, the 60-day ceasefire plan was put forward by U.S. Special Envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff. Also, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reportedly announced Israel's willingness to accept the deal during a meeting with families of deceased Israeli hostages. Now, according to state-run Can TV, U.S. officials have confirmed that Israel had signed off on the proposal before it was presented to Hamas. Take a look.
I can confirm that Special Envoy Witkoff and the president submitted a ceasefire proposal to Hamas that Israel backed and supported. Israel signed off on this proposal before it was sent to Hamas. I can also confirm that those discussions are continuing, and we hope that a ceasefire in Gaza will take place so we can return all of the hostages home, and that's been a priority from this administration from the beginning.
Israel has responded, but what about Hamas? Hamas, in response, issued a statement saying it is carefully studying the proposal with hopes of easing the humanitarian crisis in Gaza and progressing toward a permanent ceasefire. Now, what's the deal all about? According to Ken, the proposed agreement includes the following terms: a 6-day ceasefire in Gaza, the release of 10 living Israeli hostages and 18 bodies held by Hamas. Also, in exchange, Israel would release over 1,200 Palestinian detainees and 180 bodies. Now, while the proposal does not call for an end to Israel's military campaign in Gaza, it requires both Israel and Hamas to enter negotiations aimed at achieving a long-term deal. The ceasefire, if accepted, would be overseen by the United States, Egypt, and Qatar, who have agreed to act as guarantors. Meanwhile, the situation remains fragile. Israel claims Hamas is still holding 58 hostages, including at least 20 believed to be alive. The last ceasefire, which lasted 2 months, collapsed in March when Israel resumed its offensive following the release of 33 hostages by Hamas. Since the conflict erupted in October 2023, more than 54,000 people in Gaza have been killed. According to figures from Gaza's health authorities, a staggering toll that raises questions about how much longer the region can endure such devastation and also how much more Israel needs to wait for hostages to be released. Now, this new proposal offers a glimmer of hope, but also stirs important questions. Will Hamas agree to the terms amid calls for a permanent ceasefire? Can international guarantors ensure both parties uphold their commitment? Well, as the world watches and waits, Israel and Gaza continue to bear the burden of a conflict that desperately needs resolution, not just in pauses, but in permanent. Well, over to South Korea. Now in South Korea, Korea is on the track to break early voting records as over 12 million citizens have already cast their ballots ahead of next week's presidential election. As of midday Friday, the early votes represent more than a quarter of the country's 44.3 million eligible voters. According to Yonhap News Agency, early voting began Thursday and ends Friday, with the official election scheduled for Tuesday. Voters will choose a new leader to replace President Yoon Jong-il, who was impeached and officially removed from office in April. Yoon triggered a political firestorm in December when he briefly imposed martial law, claiming it wasn't necessary to counter alleged infiltration by anti-state and North Korean elements. The National Assembly quickly overturned the order, and his impeachment followed soon after. Meanwhile, the latest poll puts Democratic Party candidate Lee Jae-myung in the lead with 42.9% support. He is followed by Kim Won-soo of Yoon's Conservative People Power Party at 36.8%, and Lee Jun-seok of the New Reform Party with 10.3%. Now, voting turnout has been strongest in areas supportive of the Democratic Party, while conservative regions like Gyeongsang Province have seen lower participation, according to journalist David Lee in Seoul. The morale at the Democratic camp is much more energetic, especially after the historic impeachment. Lee told Al Jazeera, now the high-stakes vote marks the end of months of political upheaval, with a sharply divided public rallying both for and against the ousted president. Now, authorities have also reported a rise in election-related